Welcome back to Ego and Empathy, the podcast where we explore the psychology behind human behavior and the subtle ways it shapes our lives. I'm your host, Mandy, and today we're talking about one of the most powerful, life-changing, and at the same time most challenging steps in recovering from a narcissistic relationship. Today's topic is no contact. No contact is exactly what it sounds like. It means cutting off all communication with the narcissist, completely, entirely, and permanently, wherever possible. No texts, no calls, no emails, no social media checking, just one message to see how they're doing. It's the act of removing yourself from their control, their games, and their emotional influence, so that you can begin to heal. Now, I know that sounds simple. But if you've been in a relationship with a narcissist, you already know it's anything but. Because narcissistic relationships aren't built on logic, they're built on trauma bonds. And breaking a trauma bond feels like breaking an addiction. So let's unpack what no contact really means. Why it's so essential. And what happens, both to you and to the narcissist, when you enforce it. First, let's start with what no contact is not. It's not about revenge. It's not about making the narcissist miss you, or punishing them for what they did. It's about reclaiming your peace, your clarity, and your freedom. It's an act of self-respect. It says, you no longer get access to my mind, my heart, or my energy. No contact begins with a firm decision. You tell yourself, this is it. I'm done. And then, you take practical steps. Block their number on your phone. Block them on all social media platforms. Delete old messages, pictures, and emails that keep you emotionally hooked. Tell mutual friends that you do not wish to receive updates about them. If you share children or must have contact for legal reasons, move communication to a structured, written platform. Something factual, brief, and emotion-free. You might write a message like, pickup is at 3 p.m., or, please send the form by tomorrow. No personal comments, no reminiscing, no reactions. Every message should sound like something you'd send to a stranger you work with, polite, neutral, and short. But here's the truth, no contact is more than just blocking someone. It's a psychological shift. It's choosing not to engage mentally either. Because even if you don't call or text, if you're still checking their social media, if you're still daydreaming about what they're doing or who they're with, you're not truly free. You're still giving them space in your mind. And that's exactly where they want to live. The reason no contact is so powerful is that narcissists survive on emotional energy. They don't care if it's love or hate, they just need attention. Your anger, your sadness, your confusion, even your silence when it's filled with longing. It all fuels them. They need to know that they still have an effect on you. So when you go completely silent, when there is no reaction, no communication, no access, they start to panic internally. You see, narcissists depend on control. They see people as extensions of themselves, not as individuals with independent thoughts and boundaries. When you cut contact, you break that illusion. You show them that they no longer have the ability to control how you feel or what you do. And that is their biggest fear. At first, they may react with shock. They'll try to contact you, through texts, emails, gifts, or even through mutual friends. They may start with, I miss you, or, can we just talk? If that doesn't work, they might switch to guilt. You're being cruel. You owe me closure. And when that fails too, they might lash out in anger, spreading lies about you or trying to damage your reputation. This is called hoovering. Like a vacuum cleaner trying to suck you back in. They want to see if they can still pull a reaction out of you. Because if you react, even for 1 second, they know they still have power. And that brings us to one of the most important points of this episode. What happens when you break no contact, even just once? Let's say you've been strong for weeks or months. You haven't texted, you haven't called. But one night, you feel weak. You send a message, maybe just, "How have you been?" Or, "I hope you're doing okay." In that moment, your brain releases a small rush of relief. Because you've broken the tension of silence. But for the narcissist, it's like Christmas morning. Because to them, that tiny message means one thing. They still own space inside your head. They still matter. They still have control. And now, the cycle begins again. They'll say just enough to pull you back in. Just enough to confuse you. And before you know it, you're back in the same emotional chaos you worked so hard to escape. So if you ever find yourself tempted to break no contact, pause and ask yourself, what am I hoping to gain from this? Are you looking for closure? Validation? Proof that they've changed? Because I'll tell you right now, you won't find it there. Narcissists do not provide closure, they create confusion. They do not change because of love. They adapt because of opportunity. The moment you respond, you reset the clock on your healing. You reopen wounds that were starting to close. And once again, you give them the satisfaction of knowing they still have access to your emotions. No contact is hard because it feels like grief. You're letting go not only of the person, but also of the fantasy of who you thought they were. That's why so many people relapse. Because they miss the illusion more than the reality. But with every day of silence, you begin to rebuild your strength. You start to see clearly. You realize that peace feels better than chaos. And that freedom feels better than fake love. So, what should you do when the urge hits? When you're tempted to reach out? Or when you start missing them? First, remind yourself of why you left. Write it down if you have to. Make a list of every lie, every manipulation, every painful moment. Read it whenever nostalgia tries to pull you back. Second, redirect the urge. Text a friend, go for a walk, journal, or watch something uplifting. Do anything that grounds you back into the present. The urge will pass. And every time you resist it, you're retraining your brain to seek peace instead of pain. Third, understand this truth. No contact is not cruelty. It's protection. It's a boundary that says, I deserve to heal without interference. You are not hurting them by cutting contact. You are saving yourself from being hurt again. And finally, remember what happens in their mind when you stay silent. They start to lose control. They feel powerless, unimportant, forgotten. And for a narcissist, that's unbearable. They may scramble for new supply. They may lash out. But eventually, your silence forces them to face their own emptiness. And while they're busy chasing their next fix, you'll be quietly rebuilding your life in peace. So if you're listening right now and wondering if you can really do it, you can. It won't be easy. But every moment of silence is a step closer to freedom. Every unanswered message is an act of self-respect. And every day you stay strong, you're teaching yourself that you no longer need chaos to feel connected. If this episode resonated with you, please subscribe to the channel and tap the bell icon, so you'll be notified when new episodes are released. Because every week, we'll keep exploring the psychology of narcissism. And more importantly, the path back to yourself. And I want to leave you with this thought. Peace begins the moment you stop opening doors that lead back to pain. Stay silent. Stay grounded. Stay free.